is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon. Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Men's basketball winners on senior night. We're getting ready for the Diamond Sports. Baseball starting conference play. Softball at home for the Jane Sanders Classic. Tomorrow morning, Oregon women's basketball begins the postseason. They tip off at 9 o'clock. It'll be an 8:30 a.m. pregame show with Chris Clayton across the Oregon Sports Network. Track and field's got some NCAA qualifiers, and we will talk with Jess Drummond, the Oregon Lacrosse head coach, joining us today before the Ducks play a noon game tomorrow against San Diego State. I'm all about the long lunch at Pape Field. We're also chatting with Kelly Graves. Chris Clayton talked with him before they traveled to Indianapolis. That's on the show for you today. But we begin with some updates to the Oregon football staff. Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning announcing multiple promotions today, and in addition to the 2025 coaching staff, including the promotion of tight ends coach Drew Maringer to co-offensive coordinator. He will still oversee the tight ends. Drew Maringer now also the co-OC. Also some promotions in store for Rashad Wadood. He's been with the program. Now he will oversee the cornerbacks officially, and it's part of the expanding coaching staff and coaching staff. As I understand it, it's still the 10 that can go out recruiting, but then the support staff is able to be on the field coaching more in the expanding world of college football. Rashad Wadood will be coaching the cornerbacks for the Ducks. Also, Cameron Aragi, he will oversee Oregon's edges after he's been with the team for a while. And an additional role for Koa Kai. Pretty exciting to see Koa Kai. He's going to be an assistant quarterbacks coach for the Ducks, the former Duck himself. Fun to see that Duck student-athlete to coach connection. And Oregon also is expanding the coaching staff. The return of Cutter Leftwich as the Ducks' assistant offensive line coach and run game coordinator. The Ducks staff now complete, I think. But who knows what's going to happen? In today's ever-changing landscape, who knows what can happen. But congratulations to those guys for some promotions and a new addition to the Oregon football coaching staff. Also, Big Ten honors rolling in for Jerry Schumacher, men's and women's coach of the year for indoor track and field. Both men's and women's coach of the year. Jerry Schumacher, congratulations to he and the Ducks again on their Big Ten championships. And the NCAA qualifiers are here for Oregon track and field. Indoor track and field will send 14 to the indoor championships. The full list available on GoDucks.com. Oregon will have 14 national qualifiers, 10 of which are individuals, 2 relays at the NCAA Indoor Championships coming up. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Solana Yildiz will be in the mile and the 3,000 meters. Mia Barnett will compete in the mile. Simeon Birnbaum will compete in the mile as well. Matthew Erickson in the 800 meters. Also Jaden Mays in the 60 and 200 meters. The Ducks will also see Aaliyah McCormick in the 60-meter hurdles. Wilma Nielsen in the mile. Ryan Porter in the triple jump. Jada Ross in the shot put. Also the men's DMR and the women's DMR will all compete in the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships. Congratulations to the Ducks. Again, more details, full list available for you on GoDucks.com. Starting to pencil out where the Ducks could score some points, and we'll see what happens here moving forward. A 10-0 run to close out the game last night. Oregon men's basketball did it with defense and free throws. TJ Bamba setting the tone defensively. Ducks hit so many free throws down the stretch after the intentional fouls. And that possession I thought where TJ Bamba made Galloway turn around like 6 times up top before the Ducks ultimately forced a turnover and Nate Biddle stole the ball. To me, that was the tone-setting play down the stretch. TJ Bamba was really impressive. Also, Brandon Angel, a season-high 8 rebounds. You do it in different ways if you're the Ducks. Night where they didn't shoot it that great, end up winning 73-64 against 2 teams that right now are projected to be in the NCAA tournament. A matchup between 2 teams that were projected to be in the NCAA tournament. Indiana's on the bubble. Oregon's comfortably in the field, and the Ducks looked the part down the stretch. A career-high 6 assists for Nate Biddle, helping propel the way for the Ducks, beating Indiana. And how about Jackson Shellstad just hitting another ridiculously long 3? So I found myself, last night I looked at Luke because the Ducks had to move the ball. I'm laughing as I'm saying this. The Ducks had to move the ball, shall we say, creatively on that play. I don't think it was quite what the Ducks had drawn up. But the way that I was describing it, it was like, all right, 5 seconds left. Someone's got to heave. Ball ends up in Jackson's hands. He doesn't even really set his feet, and just next thing you know, it goes in. And I reacted by literally just saying, wow. And then Luke looked at me and was like, how? He keeps doing this. Just another long 3. Oregon made 1 3 in the second half. It was that one. And this was really funny. I said to Luke, the timeout before that shot, is like, if Oregon just hits 1 3. That's not exactly what I had in mind. Ducks end the game on a 10-0 run. They win 73-64 overall. A pretty happy Coach Altman post-game, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care close to home. Coach Altman post-game.
Possession there where what didn't go quite imagining how it was drawn up, but Jackson gets it near the logo, and you're 0 for 8 from 3 at that point.
No, it was a fortunate shot, but he has hit some shots. It's not a shot that goes in all the time, but he has hit a few of them. And when he let it go, it was one of those oh no, but oh great, and big shot. But then TJ's defense, the last 2 minutes was, really good. I mean, he gave up that 3, let the guy get to his right hand a little bit there, but man, he locked him up that last 2 minutes and kind of inspired the rest of the team. And I thought they did a really good job guarding, a 10-0 run, and so did a good job.
Biddle's defense in the post too, and 4 blocks again, and just his impact there.
I don't know where we'd be without him. He's a presence in there, and Paulo's a big body, big guy that's got a lot of experience, scored a lot of points. He's tough to defend, and I thought Nate Supreme did a good job, not giving him a lot of easy buckets, not giving him a lot of looks. 5 for 7, only got 7 looks, but 10 points, 12 rebounds. He's a load in there, and I thought Nate fought him pretty good.
That last 2 minutes was a 10-0 run, but I think you guys held them to 1 bucket in the last 8 minutes total. I know on Saturday you talked about this being a long season for everybody, but that sort of defensive effort in this type of game, what would you kind of make out of that?
Thought it was really good. We were struggling offensively. We didn't shoot the ball well from 3. So we needed some stops and needed to get our defense going. And I thought TJ set a really good tone on the perimeter. Thought the rest of the guys picked it up. I thought Brandon was active. Brandon and KJ getting 14 rebounds between them. Big key out of that spot. Both played about 20 minutes, and we got 14 rebounds out of that spot. I thought that was a huge key.
Does this team like living on the edge? It seems like every week you're in a different nail biter, that comes down to the final couple minutes.
There's just not a lot of separation between teams. I mean, they're talented. Rice was the freshman of the year in our league, and Paulo was a handful at Arizona. Those 2 guys inside. So, I mean, if they're a talented team, well coached, and I think there are going to be a lot of close games. So I don't like living on the edge. I think we could eliminate a few mistakes. We made some defensive mistakes in that first half that you shouldn't make on March 4th. But we were able to overcome them. And on a night we didn't shoot it worth a darn. Shot free throws great and found a way.
Dan, is there an advantage, though, to playing these close games and having that experience as you head to a time of the year where you're going to play more close
Absolutely.
games?
No. Our guys had a confidence about them. We walked into one huddle, their heads were down with us. Hey, we've been here before. This isn't where we wanted to be, but this is where we're at. And our guys have been there. So I'm not sure it's a confidence, but the experience of knowing we've been here, we've won some, we've lost at Michigan, we've won some, we've lost some, but we've been here before, and we've got to find a way to win. And we've won more than we've lost, so that's encouraging. And there's just going to be a lot of those games, I think, when teams are balanced and they're experienced, they're old. They needed the game, we needed the game. So it's going to be a little bit of a rock fight.
You mentioned Kwame's rebounds today. Just how important has he been for this stretch of winning?
Huge. I think it started the Michigan game. But, 9 rebounds against Wisconsin, 7 against Iowa. We had 6 the other night, and now, another 6. His rebounding, his activity, been great. He got in a little bit there where he's just kind of watching the game. He wanted to get some offense going, and when you just kind of focused on that, you have a tendency to watch rebounds. You're not involved in the defense. And once he started going after rebounds, it just got him involved in the game. And I thought it helped Brandon tonight. Brandon, kind of the same spot where he's just kind of watching the game rather than playing it. Rebounding and defense is the way to get yourself involved, because you can expend some energy. You don't have to look for shots. It's the part of the game where you just got to play really hard and you get involved in the game. And I thought both those guys tonight did that. And because of that, Brandon had a big bucket there on the post up. I'm not sure what the score was, but I knew we needed a bucket there. And then he hit 2 big free throws and 8 rebounds, and KJ with 6. Needed all of them. So I thought those 2 guys really were involved. But to answer your question, KJ, the last 6, 7 games, whatever it's been our X factor. He has done a tremendous job off the bench. Not so much offensively, but the defense, his length has been, but he's just got so much more involved in the game. And again, 9 rebounds against against Wisconsin was probably the difference in the game. 7 against Iowa. He's added a dimension that we desperately needed.
You guys talk about defensively, you guys are playing as well as you played all year. The connection's better, the intensity's better. Do you see that? Do you see improvement?
It has been. We gave up 2 easy buckets in transition where we just didn't talk, we weren't connected. He made a mistake and doubled off the ball side, which we never do. So we made some mistakes that they made us pay for. So you're not going to play a perfect game, but I thought for March 4th we made too many mistakes. But when TJ's hawking the ball like that and Nate's protecting the middle, we got to get Jackson and Key to use her quickness just a little bit more. And then, as I mentioned, Brandon and KJ, Bam played good tonight, I thought. Raheem gave us good minutes. Spring got the technical, but, I thought the 7 minutes he played were okay. So we got a lot of contributions. Mookie, I know it wasn't much, but came in and got us a steal and got us a bucket. So everybody, helped us out a little bit, and that's what it takes late in the season.
How would you say your relationship with a player like Jackson has sort of evolved over the last couple of seasons? And what do you think that sort of dynamic, how has that kind of contributed to his on-court, quiet, composed leadership in a game like tonight?
He's always had a lot of confidence. He's won a lot of games. I was only disappointed with one play tonight. We were pressing and he didn't chase it down like I thought he could have. But other than that, you got to let him play a little bit. His percentages are efficiency. Now, it wasn't tonight, but for the season, his efficiency's been pretty good. You got to get the ball moving a little bit more, and I think he and Key are critical to that. But I like the way he's made progress. He's trying to guard. Last year, I let him off the hook because when Key went down, we really didn't have another ball handler. He and Jermaine were the only two. And I kept talking to both of them. Don't get in foul trouble. We had to keep. So I didn't think that Jackson was able to use his quickness, but he's really trying, to focus in on it. And I think that's the key defensively for him, is just using his quickness. And I think he can get a lot more hands on balls. He had one steal tonight. I think he can get a few more. I think he can get a few more deflections because he is quick. If we're going to play Key and him together, we got a little small at the guards. They've got to use their quickness.
In these Februarys and Marches of your career that everyone likes to talk about, of Dana Altman has his teams playing well at these times of the year, there's a lot of commonalities between guys accepting their roles and buy-in and what kind of defense. And a lot of it seems maybe easy or predictable from the outside, but I'm curious, how much joy do you get in seeing how that evolves in front of you? Like talking about a guy like KJ kind of discovering, where he fits in and finds his job for y'all.
Well, you guys have heard me. We've got the longest collegiate sport event. I mean, we started October 1 and we're in our 6th month. And for the guys to stay together, it shows a lot of character. And I mentioned last time, the guys that aren't getting to play have been great. They haven't been pouting. They've been cheering the guys, which takes a lot of character. And fortunately for us, we've had groups over the years that have stayed with it. They haven't got selfish. We've been through ups and downs together. They fought through the adversity. We've just had really good guys that have stayed with it. Tremendous coaches that work with them every day and talk to them every day. And they let me push them a little bit, get after them a little bit, realizing that we all want the same thing. They hear me say so often, we're not an individualized sport. We either all go to the NCAA tournament or nobody goes. This isn't an individualized sport. We're either all going to stay together and all have some fun in March, or none of us will. And fortunately for our staff and myself, over the years, we've had guys that have bought into that. And sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. You're not going to have 31 good games, feel good for your teammates. I hope it sticks. I hope they continue. And but we've had good dudes that stay with it and play for each other. As a coaching staff, our guys, we just keep hammering the same messages. Our consistency, I think, is, this is the way we think we need to play to win. And it changes. Every team's different. We're not playing nearly as much matchup zone as we have in the past, and guys haven't felt as comfortable with it. So, again, every year's different. We're playing a lot more through Nate. Nate was most proud of his 6 assists. He was in the locker room calling himself Magic Nate. So, but he did have 6 assists, 1 turnover, and he did make some nice passes. So, every year's different, every team's different, but fortunately for us, we've had good guys that have given up part of themselves for the team, and this year's no exception. The guys, we went through that 5-game losing stretch there. We played poorly in 3 of those games. The other 2, we got beat. But a lot of teams fold. A lot of teams give into it. And I'm glad this group didn't. Stayed with it. Got back, beat Northwestern, beat Rutgers, got back on track. Had a good road trip to Iowa and Wisconsin. And now we got to finish it at Washington, which won't be easy. They're talented and they'll be loose, and it'll be their last game. We're gonna have to really play well. The crowd on senior day, So I know we're going to have our hands full over there. So it's going to be a big day Sunday, and then hopefully go to Indianapolis and make some noise.
Coach Altman breaking it all down. Sorry for the buzz on the recording there, everybody. Something happened during the recording with Coach Altman postgame. But, man, so many great things to take away from what Coach said. Just there isn't a formula. Every team's a little different. Also, what is consistent is the guy at the top's pretty good. That was the 74th win in the month of March since Dana Altman became the head coach at Oregon. Since that 10-11 season, Oregon has won the most games in the month of March. Consistency. When we come back, shifting gears to the women's tournament, which gets underway tomorrow morning on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Postseason in the month of March, Oregon women's basketball taking on Indiana in Indianapolis at 9 a.m. tomorrow before the Ducks traveled to Indiana. Chris Clayton sat down with Kelly Graves, part of our Toyota Coaches Show. Might be the last time we talk with KG, at least one of the last times we talk with KG in the Country Financial Studio. Chris Clayton previewing postseason with Coach Graves.
Sitting down with Oregon head coach Kelly Graves. Postseason's here, going into the Big Ten tournament. Let's start and get it out of the way. Let's talk about the Washington game. Always an emotional rivalry matchup with the Huskies. Great college basketball game. What were your big takeaways from that?
That ultimately, I think they played like they wanted it, needed it more than we did. They won a lot of the 50-50 balls, kicked us on the boards, just seemed to make the plays when they needed to. It was just a little bit of everything. I was disappointed in my coaching and the way we played the game. I thought we were could have played a lot better than that. Even still, had a chance late. It kind of clawed our way back in, so to speak. And in the end, they just kind of made the plays, and we didn't. And, so I credit them more than, discrediting us.
Right.
But it's difficult. You want to end the season in a more positive way. But we've got to learn from it and bounce back because we play in a couple of days.
Yeah. And Deja Kelly had her 5th game in a row now with at least 19 points. It seems like she's really in a rhythm right now.
She is. Yeah, she is, and has been playing just great. And it's not just her scoring that's up. She, I think, has just played really well. Her floor game, her assist numbers, her lack of turnovers, her rebounding. She's just playing really well. This is kind of the Deja Kelly we're hoping to have, and I'm glad that she's playing like she is, because now every game is a one and done. Mm-hmm. And and we have a lot to play for, certainly. But I'm just really happy for her. We made our votes yesterday for all conference, and I'm hoping that she gets what she deserves, because she's really been our shining star, really pretty much the whole year.
Does it help to have her too? She's played in 4 NCAA tournaments. To have her there to understand the urgency of March to kind of help the younger players.
Yeah, and when I walked into the locker room last night, I did your show first after the game, and then when I went into the locker room, she was the voice. She was the one talking to the group, and she was talking about that, about, hey, new season, we've got to make sure that we're locked in. Her experience is invaluable, because look at the players that we have in our rotation. We'll talk about Elisa. She, of course, is out. But Peyton Scott's never even made a conference tournament before, let alone an NCAA tournament. Philly played in, her first year. We went to the tournament, but, she wasn't a huge factor on that team, didn't play a whole lot. Lexi Whitfield's never been to an NCAA tournament. Ari Long, never. Katie Fiso, never. Who else is in our
Sarah Rambis?
Yeah, Sarah Rambis hasn't been to one. Nope. You just go on and on. So this is a new territory for a lot of our players, and so I think that Deja can be a huge help in that regard. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I can't even. We're taping this in the morning, and I can't even think of the players that are in our rotation. Okay, Sophia Bell.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, it's a big group. I mean, that's been part of the success.
Amina has played in a couple, and so she can also help in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you mentioned Elisa Bevius. It's been such an incredible season for her. Unfortunately, she'll be out the year with the hand surgery. We talked about it in our pregame interview. You just feel bad for her, but what a presence she's been this season.
Oh, she's been amazing. Amazing. I just got the text with her. You can't see it, but that's her X-ray.
There it is.
From this morning. So she had a successful surgery. She has a pin now, or screw in her hand, and will for the rest of her life. She made a courageous decision, quite frankly. Ending the season now, because she could have done actually irreparable damage. She hurt her right hand, in the worst possible place that it could have been, and bless her heart, man, she played a month on it.
Played pretty well.
And played pretty well. Her numbers actually were better
right.
than they were before, but she's got to think long term. She's going to have a long pro career wherever that might be. She's got another year here. If this was her senior year and she was, ready to make her first NCAA tournament, I'd say, go for it. But as a father and her coach, we sat down and talked about it, and I just think she ended up making the best decision. It's funny, her doctors in Germany had one thing to say, the doctors here had another thing to say. Her dad wanted her to do this, her mom wanted her to do that. It was everybody. So I think the two of us just kind of worked it out and said, hey, listen, this is what's best for you in the long term.
Yeah, and it's got to be inspirational, too, for her teammates to know that she was really giving it her all and trying to play through something like that.
Yeah, no question about it. But we wish her the best and a speedy recovery.
Right. Well, now, it's maybe not one single player, but how do you replace her production and what she brought to the team?
Well, everybody's just got to do a little bit more. We put Peyton back into the starting lineup, so in the case of who we typically start, I mean, our production is going to be relatively the same. It's now who's coming off the bench and can support us and be that that fire when we need it, that production. I think Katie Fiso certainly got it in her. She's a very capable player. Same with Ari Long, same with Sophia Bell. So we still have 6 really good guards that we can go to. she was our best defender, and she was the one player that, we are forcing a ton of turnovers. That's been our biggest strength, I think, defensively all year long. That could change. We just don't have, she just has a unique presence at the top of that three-quarter court trap that we like to do, and we're going to miss that, definitely.
One player I wanted to ask you about, Hisa Tute. She had a strong quality production against Washington with 7 rebounds. Last time you played Indiana, who you'll be playing in the Big Ten tournament, she helped you win that game. What do you see as the next step in her development? Because, it's pretty clear she's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, consistency, and that's not just in the games. That's in practice each and every day. She is an amazing talent. There's no question about it. She's so physical, got great hands. She gets a hand on a ball, she's getting it, whether that's a rebound or a post up. We needed her yesterday because we just weren't real solid inside, unfortunately. I think that hurt us, but she came in and did a great job. Yeah, I remember that game against Indiana. We probably don't win that game without her in that second half. She was incredible. And hopefully that gives her confidence going into this game. So, yeah, we're going to need her definitely. But, yeah, she's got a bright future. There's just no question about it. And when we need to play her, right now we're playing some older kids, at least to start the game ahead of her. But, boy, she's hard to keep out of the lineup. That's been our issue all year. We haven't had the consistency across the board, And so you just, on any given night, it seems to be somebody else, or it has to be somebody else. And that can be good and that can be bad.
Now imagine if that consistency gets going for the Ducks. 9 a.m. tip-off on Thursday to start the Big Ten tournament for Oregon women's basketball. We continue with Kelly Graves next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity. Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Continuing our conversation, getting ready for postseason basketball on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Our Toyota Coaches Show. Toyota bringing you our conversations with the Oregon men's and women's basketball coaching staffs. Let's check back in with Kelly Graves talking with Chris Clayton.
Well, now you got a new season, right?
Yep.
Postseason, you've got Thursday morning, 9 a.m. an early start against Indiana. When you go into these Big Ten and NCAA tournaments, do you have a normal rah-rah speech do you give before these games, or is it kind of business as usual? You don't want to psych them out. How do you approach that?
Yeah, well, I think you can psych them out if you build it up too much. I'm pretty consistent. If you watch our pregame speeches, and stuff, I'm not a huge rah-rah guy, giving them a win one for the Gipper kind of speech. Well, first of all, we meet with the team 30 minutes before tip-off. Right? Or I shouldn't say that, 30 minutes before the clock goes to zero. Then it has, any kind of special recognition, the national anthem, the starting lineups. It's 40 minutes before the game. If I have to fire them up 40 minutes before the game, we're in trouble.
Right.
We're in trouble.
Yeah.
And I remember my coach, when I was playing, he was a real cerebral guy. This is what we need to do. These are the 3 keys right here. 1, 2, 3. We do this, we're going to be, he'd always say, if we win, we're going to be humble. If we lose, we're going to be sad. And he said every game. He was a very successful coach. I try to just do the same thing. This is what we need to do. And if you watch our pregame speeches, quite frankly, I open it and I close it. But the bulk of what's going on, and what we need to do is done by the assistant coaches. We each take turns in our specific areas. So I think in practice we need to prepare and stay focused because now, yes, the stakes are a little bit greater. But, I don't think you can just turn it on and off.
Yeah.
I think you just, we got to prepare the way we always do.
Yeah. No, I appreciate your transparency. I think that's cool for the fans to kind of get a behind-the-scenes look with that. And, your next discussion will be Indiana. You already played them and beat them once in January. What can you learn from that 54-47 win from last time that can help you in round 2?
Well, that late in the game, our defense did it. We turned them over. We got them uncomfortable. We were very aggressive, and they didn't react that well. They're going to be ready for that this time, right? Yeah, that was during the part of the season when we were really offensively challenged. I mean, if we shot above 35%, that was a hot streak. 20% from the 3, oh my goodness, we're killing it. We've got to be better, and I think we are. I think we've improved since then. I think they have too. So yeah, it's going to be a heck of a game. Obviously, we're playing in Indianapolis. That's, an hour, less than an hour, I think, from Bloomington. So it's going to be a so-called home court advantage for them. We aren't playing in Matthew Knight Arena like we did last time. They're just very balanced, very balanced team. They've got good guard play. They've got a bunch of shooters. They run 2 very active post players in and out of the game, one of which, all right, one of which.
I didn't even notice, but yeah.
Okay. You're supposed to.
Yeah,
you're the
you're right.
wordsmith. You're the wordsmith. I'm the coach. I tell people I know X's and O's. It's the other letters I struggle with. So, but again, they're going to spread us out. It's a tough matchup for us. We've got to go small. And when we go small, it's not necessarily our most productive offensive lineup. But then again, you're going to have Philly chasing a guard out there, and that doesn't always end well when we have to do that.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of teams like that in the Big Ten where they go 4 and 5 out, and everybody can shoot multiple 37% plus 3-point shooters.
Yeah, it's really funny, and the narrative going into our move here was that, it's a bunch of farm kids,
right.
strong. And no, they're very offensive. It's a very offensive-minded league.
Yeah.
Like you said, everybody's kind of got a 4-guard offense. They're spreading it out. Not a lot of just big centers in the league. Mm-hmm. And so we match up well when we play UCLA because they've got the tall center. Same with USC. But, this is a different league. So, being our first year in it, we recruited to win the Pac-12, not to win the Big Ten, and it's just a different style. So we'll adjust.
Isn't that interesting? Hearing Coach Graves break some of that down. That's Chris Clayton talking with Kelly Graves on our Toyota Coaches Show. A Toyota Coach's Corner coming your way as part of the 8:30 pregame with Chris Clayton tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. The Ducks get rolling early against Indiana. 9 a.m. the tip-off. It's on Big Ten Network as part of the women's basketball tournament. And, of course, Chris Clayton will have the call for every game moving forward in postseason. March Madness is here. Meanwhile, Oregon Lacrosse still early in the season. Final couple non-conference tune-ups last weekend, and now back at home tomorrow at noon. We're talking with Jess Drummond, the head coach, next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Back at home for Oregon Lacrosse. This is Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Jess Drummond is here. Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Coach Drummond, I know no one ever calls you that. Do you still get a lot of Coach Jess?
No.
You just get Jess.
Or just
coach?
Yeah.
Is that like you it's never like, insert teacher's last name here. It's just teacher
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Coach Drummond. I have to formally introduce you as Coach Drummond. So.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Coach Jess Drummond is here because Oregon Lacrosse is back at home. We're going to review the week that was, talk about the week that is upcoming. It is game day eve for the Ducks. How about a long lunch break at Pape Field tomorrow?
Yes.
I actually want to start there. You've scheduled a couple midday matchups during the week. I know it's harder on the academic schedule, but I think it's been kind of fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
Wake up, play a game, get a dub.
So you're a fan of that. You like playing early?
I am.
Is everybody else?
I haven't heard otherwise. So we're winning when we do that. So let's keep the trend. That's the hope.
Yeah. You are winning. Now, undefeated at home, coming off though the first road trip, a couple of losses. What'd you take away from the trip to California?
It's just a good reset, to play some tough competition, especially against Cal and UC Davis being in the Pac-12 last year, playing against them. We've always got that rivalry going. It helps us set up against Big Ten coming along. So again, it's really important for us to play tough teams, and sometimes a loss we can bounce back harder from. So that's the goal.
And it felt like in both of those matchups had some chances.
Yeah, definitely.
Break it down. What'd you see?
Yeah, saw a lot of fight and hustle, and I think, we just got a little bit – we let Cal kind of take away that game once they kind of switched up their zone and did something different. So I feel like for us, we got to be able to adjust and make in-game decisions quicker than our opponent and keep fighting and still believe. I think that's the biggest thing. It's on my door. Believe.
Right.
We can always turn it around.
Yeah, it is front and center, by the way, on Jess's door. You know, you mentioned a great point, though, that I feel like every coach goes through a learning moment like that with a team, right? Of like, okay, you got to make adjustments, and that's kind of the mental side, I guess, of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think it's great. You know, we talked a lot about it in film on Monday, just the breakdowns where that happened, how we could be better moving forward, what we would have done differently, you know, to really get them to see that visually and to conceptualize it of like how they could have gone out there in a different mindset and be able to adjust in the game instead of now waiting next week and then showing up. So our goal is to hopefully bounce back for Thursday.
One thing that's been pretty consistent, though, is your ability to score not only first but quickly.
Yeah.
You know, how have you been able to do that, and how beneficial is it to just set the tone that way for your offense?
I think it just really sets the tone of like our confidence, that alpha mentality we've talked about. You know, we just always talk about getting that first draw and being that team that scores first. I think, again, like it gets the momentum on our side, and we can hopefully carry that for the next 4 quarters if we keep doing that.
I feel like it's such a powerful just tone set, you know, like, and you get the momentum on your side early. And one thing I wanted to mention, so looking at some of the numbers and goal differential, you're actually third in the Big Ten in goal differential, and the only 2 teams that have a better goal differential than the Ducks are 2 of the top 3 teams, not in the Big Ten, but in the country. Woo. That goal differential, how much does that matter to you as a coach? It's
a little.
Game to game, right? I was curious. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, totally. I think more of like when I look at that goal differential, I think about who else is scoring. And, you know, I think that's the bigger takeaway of seeing so many of our attackers scoring goals and middies and not just one person getting all those goals. And I think that's the biggest takeaway when we see that each person can show up and get goals on our team. And we talk about a team first, like the whole offensive unit is scoring all those goals, not just one person.
Well, and that brings up a great point. I mean, we could talk, I feel like, every week about Anna Simmons. I mean, like she has been so good. The only player in the nation that has tallied 20-plus goals, 15-plus ground balls, and 10-plus caused turnovers. So, you talk about depth of statistics. You know, those are things people like me get excited about, right?
For sure.
But as a coach, like, there's going to be a spotlight on her, I'd imagine.
Totally.
So you got to be ready for that, I guess.
Yeah, and that was a good learning point this past weekend. Like, we're going to be able to, like, teams are watching film on us. They're going to see what we're doing, so we got to make sure that we're continuing to be, you know, creative and getting other people to able to score. And I think that was great for Anna to kind of experience that, and now being able to, you know, level up her play and now get assists out of that. You know, people are going to want to double her or face guard her or try to take her out of the game, and now it's other people have that opportunity to step up.
I mean, we're almost into Big Ten play, right?
Yeah.
So non-conference is coming to a close. So I kind of like to ask, like, you mentioned it's a potential reset tomorrow, but it's also a chance to maybe zoom out and be like, okay, now you've got a larger sample size.
Yeah.
You know, like you probably have, when you're looking at the opposition, a lot more to scout too. Like, teams change.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Over the course of this period of time, right?
Yes, for sure. And I think, you know, it was good for us to see that against Cal and UC Davis and just go back to who we were the first 4 games. I think we kind of lost that little sense of identity of being that team that out hustles, that's relentless, that's like getting all those ground balls. And I think when you see our team, like that's what you see on the field every time we show up for game day. And that was lacking a little bit this past weekend. And so I'm pumped again. We get to be back on our home turf. I think we show up to defend Pape and just get, again, I keep saying reset, but a new refocus of back to who we are as a team.
You really believe in defending Pape.
Always.
I love that that's become kind of the mantra of the team, right?
Yeah.
You take a lot of pride in that field.
I do. And I think that, like, then carries over. It's like, you know, when we step onto that field, it's like we are Oregon, but then when we go to another opponent, it's like, boom, we're Oregon, score that first goal. Like, don't underestimate who we are, and I want people to keep thinking about that.
No, it makes sense,
yeah.
Right? I mean, I know it's the whole, like, you see the Ducks, Oregon across the chest, right? It sure means something. Talking lacrosse with head coach Jess Drummond. It is a long lunch, so put in for the long lunch now. San Diego State, the Aztecs in town, and now this begins a 4-game homestand for you all, which is fun.
So
right?
fun.
So defending Pape.
Back at it.
San Diego State. Tell us a little bit about the Aztecs.
Yeah, you know, we have some redemption from last year against them. So we had another opportunity last year. We were up by a couple goals, and they clawed their way back. And, you know, I think we are coming out and excited to play them at our home turf and kind of have a second opportunity to play against them.
Ohio State then coming up, and Rutgers and Penn State, Big Ten play on the horizon. What do you want to see from your team? I know that's a general question.
Sure.
that sometimes coaches hate.
I don't hate it. I'm
Okay.
like, because I am in the mindset right now. We just came off with 2 losses. Like, we've got to see something back to who we are. And, you know, I was talking to the team this week of like, we just need a reset and refocus back to who we are. Like, we talk about our team winning values and, you know, the words they came up with: consistency, relentless, and family. And that's just what we got to go back to, of being that team that's grittier than the others, sticking together and finding that connection within each other.
Noon start tomorrow. Oregon against San Diego State, again, back at home. You know, I know it's an obvious question, but like, being at home versus being on the road, it is different, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I like, you know, it's so amazing. Like, you just look around. Oh, good catch. I'm banging the desk, and she was ready to catch the helmet. Good work, coach.
Got it.
Well done. Well done. I know it sounds super obvious, but like, across all sports, right? Like, your home records, like 99% of the time, better than your road record. You know, like, there are so many reasons for that. Why?
You want me to just?
Yes, please tell me everything.
Gosh, I think there's a lot of routine. This is just me personally. I have no idea what other people think and their vibes on that.
But I
you're
don't care
asking
about
a
other
loaded
people.
question.
Yeah.
Loaded question. I am a big believer on routine and consistency and how we show up and being able to step onto our field. We have our locker room. We've got our pregame meal we do. You know, everything's pretty laid out and set up for how we show up on a home game. And I think when you get on the road, it's like the stress of like, oh, am I going to get my homework done?
Right.
And finding all that and squeezing that time in.
Get to the bus on time.
Yeah, and I just try to be, you know, when we do away trips, the goal is to be consistent as possible of like, this is your homework time, this is our lunch, this is our pregame meal, you know, like kind of thinking through. So I think when we're home, it's like that routine and then the atmosphere. Our fans come out.
Yeah,
they
fans make
hyped
a
up.
difference.
The audience, everyone who's there is just fired up, and that's like, you get to play hard for people who are watching you and supporting you.
Yeah, when you get the roar of the crowd behind a goal, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's nothing
Yeah.
quite like that. No,
Yeah.
I know it sounds obvious, but it's a thing, right? It just is a thing. All right, Oregon Lacrosse, San Diego State, noon tomorrow. Long lunch at Pat Bay Field. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll see you there.
See you there.
You're giving all of us a reason to just leave the office
Absolutely.
at 11:45. It's
yeah,
perfect.
Of
It's
course.
great.
Sun's out. Here we go.
That's awesome. All right, when we come back, wrapping up Duck Insider, still a few things to cover on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Every time we get that bumper back, I'm always like, yeah, wait till the end. You got to wait until the end. Every single time. Welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you inside the Country Financial Studio. If you're just joining us, track and field NCAA qualifiers, Ducks have 14 entries into the Indoor Track and Field Championships coming your way not this weekend, but next weekend for the Ducks, going for a podium finish, national championship in Indoor Track and Field after Jerry Schumacher today was named the Big Ten Coach of the Year for men's and women's indoor track and field. Dan Lanning announcing some staff updates. Drew Maringer promoted to co-offensive coordinator. Some other promotions for the Ducks up and down the football roster. And some fun news for Oregon baseball. After a 15-0 win yesterday, the Ducks are now starting conference play on the road against USC Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. 15-0 though, out hit Utah Tech 17-5. Ian Umlant was outstanding in the game on the hill. Coach Wazakowski complimentary of what Ian Umlant did. And, the Ducks are going to need those critical midweek starts from a guy like Umlant. He went 4 2/3, gave up just 4 hits in 19 batters faced. You'll take that. The Ducks end up throwing Seth Maddox, Julian Hernandez, Ryan Featherston got back on track a bit, Sam Boyle, Micah Mechna, Tyler Jones all in there for the Ducks in a 15-0 win. Offense was good. Mason DeVille led off the game with a home run, but Dominic Hellman has been amazing. A day after being named the Big Ten Conference Player of the Week, he was also the National Player of the Week, according to the NCBWA, and he was excellent in the game yesterday, building on that really nationally recognized performance. He was 2 for 4 with 4 RBI, had 2 more home runs in the game last night as the Ducks won 15-0, and Dominic Hellman continuing a run, the National Player of the Week, playing exceptionally well on a Tuesday in that 15-0 win. Women's golf, sophomore Karen Suru earned the first individual win of her career on Tuesday as a member of the Oregon women's golf team. They finished second overall at the Julie Inkster Invitational. After shooting 10 under par across the first 2 rounds on Monday, Suru fired a 3 under 69 in the final round, and the Ducks ended up, as I said, in second place, and it's pretty cool to think about the fact that the Ducks now had 2 different individual champions just recently. Derek Radley said he was really proud of Karen for getting her first collegiate win. Some tough conditions out here this week, cold and wind, shooting the 60s all 3 rounds. Super impressive. That's Derek Radley talking about Karen Suru and what she was able to do for Oregon women's golf. It's really a fun thing to see. I was trying to think of a better way to describe this, but it's just been such a rise for Oregon women's golf, and now they've stayed at the top under Derek Radley, knocking on the door of that national championship. Tomorrow, Oregon women's basketball with a 9 a.m. tip, 8:30 pregame with Chris Clayton across the Oregon Sports Network. Oregon Lacrosse at home at noon against San Diego State tomorrow, and we'll, of course, be back with Duck Insider. See you then.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream.